UMOETTE. Welcome to the program. Well, let's start this way. Do you know who your lawmaker in the State Assembly is? Do you know who is your local government chairman? And maybe more importantly, do you know who your councillor is? Well, these are elected representatives expected to make basic impact in our daily lives. Everything does not necessarily revolve around the president and even the governor. So maybe this is a challenge for all of us today. Let's find out who these representatives are and reach out to them with problems, issues, everything concerning governance and government. It may just go a long way in helping. Well, welcome to another fresh edition of the program as we examine some unfolding stories in the public space. As usual, it's a mixture of developing stories, running stories, and some would say even unfolding ones. And I have my guest in the studio is a gatekeeper, is also someone who is always in the field too. So he has his boots on the ground, and he also decides which stories get seen by people at the end of the day. Bode Gbadebo is my guest today. Bode, welcome to Insight once again.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Good morning, Abuja.
Good morning, Bode. Bode is online editor with the Leadership newspaper, and is going to help us make sense with some of the unfolding stories that we have in the public space. You can join our live stream on YouTube. Don't forget, type in Citizen FM 93.7 and you'll be part of the show anywhere you are in the world. You can also listen to us online on www.citizenfm.ng. Our social media platforms are also there on Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on Twitter at Citizen FM 937. So that's how it's going to be in the next 45 minutes or thereabout. We will look at some developing stories, some unfolding stories in the public space. And Bode Gbadebo, online editor at Leadership newspaper, will help us navigate through some of these stories. And so at 10:30 we will open the phone lines and you can contribute. You can call us. You can also send us a WhatsApp message when the time comes. Bode, straight up, I noticed that your paper led with the NAS story, saying the National Assembly is spending 53.7 billion naira on cars for lawmakers in 12 years.
Yeah, that's correct. That's our lead story. And it's not just a lead story, it's an exclusive story because we went through the records in the last 12 years to put together the figures. And the total amount you're saying there is 54 billion. Now, you can as well see the reaction to the story by some civil society organizations in Nigeria that we cannot continue this way. And this, to them, is looting under the guise of democracy. We are using democracy to loot public fund. Because why will a lawmaker every year continue to, get official car when he's in office for 4 years? And every budget, you keep saying these line items, cars, laptops, and at the end of the day, nobody's procuring them. They just pocket the money with the sense of entitlement that we are entitled for this. So the civil society organization are actually calling for a kind of a dialogue involving all Nigerians as to how our own version of democracy should be operated. It shouldn't be like this, where leaders enjoy at the expense of the led, and it should be the other way around. Leaders should actually sacrifice for the followership to enjoy dividend of democracy. You remember President Bola Tinubu in the couple of times have call on Nigerians to sacrifice, and people are asking, if Nigerians are to sacrifice, you as a leader, what are you sacrificing? You use the official presidential jet to travel over the world. What benefit would that get for Nigerians? You will be in cozy office. What will that get for Nigerians in terms of benefit? You have a retinue of aides and a convoys of cars that will cost taxpayers money, millions of naira in a fiscal year. What would that engender for Nigeria in terms of benefit? Benefit amid good governance. So, a lot of questions. But then, this is Nigeria. This is not the first time people are querying this type of expenditures. We will continue to question them, and nothing will happen until we are intentional about putting a stop to this type of spending. For example, in the last 12 years, yes, 3 assemblies, 2011 to 2015, 2015 to 2019, combined spend about 13 billion on cars. But there is now proposed 40 billion by the 10th National Assembly alone. It has not been done. It's a proposal as we speak. So the ball is in our court, whether we allow them to spend that humongous amount of money to purchase cars for the 10th Assembly members or not. I think something intentional should be done. On our own part as journalists, or let me say as leadership newspaper, we brought out the story for Nigerians to see. It's now left for Nigerians to act on the story. We've done our own bits as gatekeepers.
Buddy, let's be a little bit practical here now. On one hand, Nigerians demand a National Assembly or a set of lawmakers that are fully equipped with state-of-the-art equipment and are ready to engage in the art of lawmaking. These things cost money. On the other hand, we complain when things like this happen. That's one, too. I also understand that at the end of every 4 years, these cars are sold off to the lawmakers and they pay for them. So technically, it's not as if these cars are given to the lawmakers for free.
They are free. It's not from their salaries. They are given to them as part of benefit of office. Their salary remains. So if at the end of the day you are leaving and the car is monetized to you, you know how this thing works. For example, if the car costs 10 naira, after 4 years you are leaving, maybe you are not elected to come back to the assembly and you are asked to go with the car at 1 kobo. What does that say? And have you had National Assembly also remitting money before? Oh, this is the amount of money realized from sale of cars to members of the National Assembly that are leaving. So all these things are shrouded in secrecy. And that's not democracy. Democracy is about the people, it's about openness, it's about transparency, it's about accountability. All these ingredients are lacking. So as we speak, it is safe to say we don't have a democracy in Nigeria.
Okay, maybe just for the sake of intellectual discourse, why don't we attack the problem from the source? One, monetization, it's a policy of government. I understand there was a time, even the housing estate in Gutu, during the Obasanjo regime, those houses were sold off to the lawmakers. Apo, yes, in Apo, were sold off to the lawmakers at the end of the day, even including that of those for principal officers at the end of. So why do maybe it's time for us to look at this policy? And well, arguments from the government side was that, well, if these things are not sold out, at the end of every 4 years, most of these properties are looted. So government loses. So what government does is that after 4 years, the equipment in your office, we sell them off to you, you pay for them. Because if we say, okay, leave them, at the end of the day, those things are even carted away.
Well, with a proper record-keeping culture, nothing will be looted. If you are coming to your office and you are given a car, office accommodation, gadgets, and so on and so forth, they should be on record. When you are leaving, you hand them over to the person taking over from you, except when such equipment can no longer be used by the next person. Then we can begin to talk about replacement for the next person. Now, this should be in public good, in the sense that you are coming to serve the people. You are not coming to serve yourself. But, that's why we have this, sorry to say, a kind of a craze to occupy government office. Because it's about enjoyment. It's about posh, atmosphere, cozy office. Is about luxury. So wherever you get all this, you don't see service. But where you get service is about sacrifice. It's the voice of coziness, posh cars and the rest. You see people really, they want to serve. Go to advanced democracy. They have the money, but you see a lawmaker riding on bicycle from his home to the office. Why?
Well, the society is different. The
exactly, security and the rest of them.
And apart from that, the expectations are also different. In those parts of the world that you're quoting,
it's practically not possible here.
Lawmakers are not expected to build infrastructure. They are not expected to pay for marriage ceremony for their constituents. They are not expected to a lot of bills.
Even here, lawmaker is not expected to build any infrastructure.
But that's for the way these things are. To quote you,
it is not from their money. They can only influence it to happen. But people don't get the real understanding of the workings of lawmakers in Nigeria.
Exactly.
Most of the things they put their name, the money are not from their pocket. They influence them to happen. It's not from them.
Anyway, but let's move on. Still staying with the National Assembly. It's the final week, so to speak,
yes.
of expectations from the president concerning the ministerial list. It's barely 1 week remaining, the constitutional provision. And the last day, the lawmakers sit in plenaries on Thursday. So, give and take, the speculations are more rife now than ever before that finally we may have to see that list by Thursday.
Of course, between Tuesday tomorrow and Thursday, the next 3 days, of course.
But why does it look as if without ministers, government is not moving, it's not working? Why there's so much apprehension over a list of cabinet members?
Because there is a new job coming for the boys, who in turn also give other boys jobs to do. When a minister is appointed, he will appoint his own chief of staff, he will appoint his own media advisor, he will appoint his own, he will appoint his own people to work with him. So that's why you see the frenzy. A job is coming for the boys, who in turn employ other boys. So of course there must be frenzy.
Okay, but looking at the impacts of the cabinet, looking at the expectations, especially with what the president has been saying over the years, there seems to be a lot of expectations about how that cabinet will shape the direction of this administration.
Of course. Of course. Now, number one is people are, anxious to see what kind of people will Tinubu be appointing as ministers. Will it be same with what Buhari did, or there will be a departure from what Buhari did? Buhari appointed people based on political patronage, largely based on political patronage. Remember, a member of a political party different from a ruling APC was appointed as minister under Buhari. I can't remember his party, but if you remember Honorable Emeka Nwajuba, who was appointed Minister of State for Education, he was appointed as a minister when he was a member of House of Reps on a party, I can't remember the party, from the southeast. And people say, oh, he had always been a friend to Buhari, and Buhari just appointed him. You understand? So people want to know. I remember again, when Buhari came, he told us he will cut cost of governance. There will be a lean cabinet. But then, when he won election to second term, he changed. Remember, the Ministry of Transportation was one in his first 4 years in office. But when he was re-elected, he split it into two. We had transportation for maritime and land transport, then aviation to be on its own, so that is a man from Katsina will become a substantive minister. Probably the man was complaining that, I was not enjoying under Amechi. The man was Minister of State under Amechi, and probably there was complaints. And I said, okay, since you are my man, we are from the same Katsina state, let me create a ministry for you so that you become...
Those are speculations.
A lot of the man, but he promised us that there will be a lean government. It will cut cost of governance. But what we saw was a different thing. So now, Tinubu has made a lot of promises about governance and the rest of them. His choice of ministers will go a long way to tell us the direction of Tinubu's government in the next 4 years.
But can he really afford to run a lean government with the amount of promises and indebtedness that he has during the...
the National Assembly story we discussed about cost of cars is a pointer of the nature. It's not about Tinubu, it's the nature of our own democracy.
Exactly.
And like you rightly said, you rightly asked, the answer is no. You asked, can he really run a lean government? And I can tell you, given the nature of our democracy, the answer is no. So he cannot. He can only say in the mouth, he will not act that way.
Okay, before we leave the National Assembly, yesterday there was a press statement that, from the House of Reps, that there is no pressure, external pressure, on the part of the leadership of the House of Reps concerning the setting up of committees, standing committees. But you and I know the way these things works. The pressure will always come. It's part of the way we run our politics, isn't it?
Of course. People will always fly kites. So whether the pressure is a big one or a minor one, there are pressures in some places. Of course. You cannot totally fault that story. There are pressures. Even though they have done the right thing by saying, oh, we are not under pressure. It's the normal thing with Nigerian politicians. If you don't forget, we discussed similar thing last week, Monday. The lead story of my newspaper, the leadership newspaper, was about pressure on Akpabio and Abbas on the need to balance headship of committees between members of the ruling party and the opposition party who helped them to emerge. And the story then was that they were under pressure not to fulfill their promise. And I say, well, if they don't fulfill their promise, well, their seat might be in danger. Because give or take, they don't have overwhelming majority in both chambers of the National Assembly. So hence there is a need for them to strike a balance. So they must fulfill the promises they made to the members of the opposition party as regards headship of standing committees of both chambers. And now 7 days later we have another story saying they are under pressure to appoint headship of committee. They are saying they don't. Oh, let's see how long they can go to deny that. We can only keep our fingers crossed. And
from experience, but you know that how well a presiding officer scaled through this major hurdle also determine how stable his leadership will be over the years.
Exactly.
So that's for the National Assembly. I think we've dwelled enough with that. Let's move on to the political parties. It doesn't seem as if everything is rosy with the APC, despite the public posturing. But yesterday, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, it's been all over the news that, former governor of Kano State is primed to take over from the former governor of Nasarawa State as the leader of the party. It's not official, but it's still in the media. But it's gaining traction daily. And this morning, we also understand that, NEC to ratify Ganduje as national chairman. What are your sources telling you? Is it really a done deal?
Well, since it's coming from the president, Bola Tinubu, it's a done deal. You know, our own democracy is the democracy of powerful personalities. It's not a democracy of powerful institutions. So it's about persons. Now, leadership actually broke this story last week that Ganduje was tipped or had been tipped to replace Abdullah Adamu. And up to this moment, I don't think anything will change that, but then anything can happen. But since it's the choice, Ganduje is the choice of President Tinubu, who also was responsible for the resignation of the SY chairman, Abdullah Adamu, it's as saying it's a done deal. It will come to pass. But then, don't forget, what happened under the PDP administration is a replay. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo was responsible for emergence of some certain PDP national chairman.
Many of them.
And at the same time was responsible for their own ceremonial removal from office. So it means, remember, Abdullah Adamu wasn't the choice of the majority members of the party. It was the choice of President Muhammadu Buhari.
Exactly.
He became the national chairman. Now a president is coming, showing him the way out. The president is bringing in another person. That person will be at the beck and call of the President Tinubu. Whenever he's tired of him, he will also show him the way out. So the party will be helpless. Members of the party will be helpless. It will be Tinubu's wish and will at all times. And that is our own type of democracy. So nothing new. It has happened before. It will happen again. It will continue to happen until we are intentional about a change.
But you keep saying until we are intentional about this. How do we get intentional? But just hold on. Let's take a short break. When we come back, maybe we will explore that angle about how intentional we can be as Nigerians, as citizens, as members of political parties, because it's what you're saying, the picture you painted is not just about the APC. It's about any government in power, even at the state levels, where you have a governor assuming the role of the leader of the party and not the state chairman. And so there are so many other things, and this may perhaps be a topic for another day. But let's take a short break, buddy. When we return, Insight will continue. Please don't go away.
Wake up. Reach out. Speak up. Speak out. You are the voice of a new generation. And this is your station. Talk Radio 93.7 Citizen FM.
Citizens Tech Talk with Mina, bringing you news updates on digital technology around us, discussing the latest developments and how technology can enrich you and make your life more exciting. Citizens Tech Talk with Mina, welcome to our world of technology. Every Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 12, Citizens Tech Talk with Mina, expanding our global reach through technology.
Ụmụnne m na ụmụnna m oge ndị Igbo na-abịaziri unu ụbọchị Satọde na ụbọchị Sọnde na weta aka n'elekere nke 4. Oge ndị Igbo bụ oge anyị ji anọrị, oge gị na-ekene ezepụ na-eji akpọrịkọta ụbụbọ kabarụ na-esonyela anyị. Nke a bụ nke anyị. Ụmụnne m daalụnụ.
Looking for the best in news updates?
Yeah, man.
Listen to Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja.
Now listen.
News on the hour, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and 11 a.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and 5 p.m. News at noon, 12 noon. News from across the states, 4 p.m. And our major news at 6 p.m. Citizen FM 93.7. Always precise in news broadcast.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. It's still Insight on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence UMOETTE. We are looking at unfolding developments in the public space. My guest is Bode Badebo, who is an online editor with Leadership Newspapers. Bode, thank you for staying tuned.
It's my pleasure.
All right. The phone lines are open now. You can call us on 0903 2299797. That's 0903 2299797. You can also call us on 0818 2222205. That's 0818 2222205. Or you can also call us on 0818 2222206. Any of those numbers, you can send us a WhatsApp message and we will be glad to read your message. Just let us know where you're writing in from. And you can join our live stream on YouTube. Just type in Citizen FM 93.7 and you'll be part of the show. Our social media platforms are there. On Facebook at Citizen FM 937, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on Twitter at Citizen FM 937. So any of those platforms, you can interact with us. Again, do you know who your lawmaker is in the State Assembly? Do you know who your local government chairman is? And more importantly, do you know who your councillor is? Try and find out. Okay, buddy, let's go back. Let's look at another institution. INEC in the last couple of days, INEC has been in the news after the whole controversy that trailed the elections. But this time around, INEC met with several sectors of the country and saying that the last meeting was with their coalition officers. And in one of his interactions, the INEC chairman said, "Oh, we are trying to look at how we can move forward, how we can improve on the election and every other thing." That's one. Two, the court also ordered that the youth parties should be recognized by INEC. The Supreme Court actually made that, but INEC has formally done that. So officially, we have 19 political parties. Buddy?
Yes, I think INEC has done the right thing by giving effect to the judgment of the apex court in the land, which is the Supreme Court. I think this is the incident, this is our story started 3 years ago now, 2020,
yes,
when INEC deregistered about 74 or so political parties. Then we had close to 90, and INEC, in exercising its powers of a regulator, deregistered about 74 in 2020. And at that point, I think I remember I was in support of INEC action because INEC gave certain reasons. None of them at that time won any election, you know, some no traceable office, some of them existed on paper at that time. And I said, well, we cannot continue to keep you because it will be at the expense of taxpayers' money. You know, INEC gives subvention to parties. And some of them were actually portmanteau political parties. They just carry briefcase, go around and claim to be official of political parties in order to get subvention from INEC. So that means we won't be getting any value for our money. So after the deregistration by INEC, some parties, I think, some of the parties approached the courts, and the Federal High Court at that time affirmed the power of INEC to deregister. Some not dissatisfied again went to the appeal court, and this youth party from appeal court to the Supreme Court, and you know it won. Now INEC is now obeying what the Supreme Court has said, which is a very, very good thing to do. But I think we need to rethink registration. Honestly speaking, some of them are just there, no traceable office. Even some of these 18s are there as bargaining chips.
Exactly.
They are waiting in the wings for some of the major political parties to have issues, and they will just beckon on the agreed party members to come to us and contest on us, give us 10 million, give us 40 million, use our platform. That's not how democracy is the practice.
In fact, but even the prominent members of the major political parties are also sponsors of this.
As Plan B. As Plan B.
Sponsors of this political party.
As Plan B, yes. I remember AA belonged to a a prominent member of the APC who was the governor in the southeast. He's using AA to do a lot of things. You know, like NMPP, like Kwankwaso NMPP. I won't say it on this program. I never heard of that party until Kwankwaso left PDP, and suddenly he appeared on NMPP. He became the national leader. He became the presidential candidate. To God be the glory. NMPP today is having a governor of a major state in northern Nigeria, which is Kano. So, well, he has achieved his aim with NMPP. So, well, it's good that INEC has obeyed the Supreme Court. It's okay. So be it.
Okay. From INEC, we move to another controversial matter, the minimum wage. After the subsidy issue, the Nigerian Labour Congress has been up and in arms with the government, and one of their demands are that the minimum wage will need to be revisited, and some of them even mentioned 200,000 naira as minimum wage, and people have been weighing in on this. Even recently, the former governor of I think Edo State, yes, former governor of Edo State, and also former NLC president also weighed in. In fact, even went a step further to say that the current minimum wage is, there's a word he used for it to describe it, that it's criminal or something like that. And some people have been asking what was the minimum wage when he was governor of Edo State. But that's a story so let's look at this issue of minimum wage, body. How do you think it will eventually play out?
Well, for now, what the government and Labour are doing is to actually map out strategies on how to roll out some relief packages for workers. And I begin to ask myself, the new petrol pump price, the effect of subsidy removal, is it on only civil servants or Nigerians, some of us are in the public, in the private sector. What happened to us? Nobody talk about what will happen to us.
And we're in the majority.
We are in the majority, thank you. So nobody is talking about what will happen to us. Then secondly, the conditional cash transfer of 8,000 naira to 12 million household is said to be meant for poor
The poorest
Nigerians,
of the poor.
the poorest of the poor, even without a credible register to arrive at that. Now, the president himself has said, okay, let's review our strategy. Since Nigerians are complaining, let's review our strategy. Now, there will be grains and fertilizers for about 50 million farmers. How do you know who is a real farmer and who is not? You have not come out to tell us. Now, the whole thing is, I'm not even talking about the minimum wage. I'm talking about the relief packages to cushion the effect of petrol subsidy removal. The strategies, the measures are not transparent enough. And that's why there will be a problem. Now, talking about the minimum wage, yes, people have already been toying with the 200,000 figure. And you ask yourself, do we have the capacity to do that? A lot of Nigerians will tell you yes, because there is a lot of corruption. And without corruption, we should have the capacity to pay 200,000 naira minimum wage. Now, if you pay that and you put it...
Okay, but just a moment. Let me take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hello, could you speak up, please?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. My name is... I get from this morning.
Sorry, say your name is what? Okay, you know what? I think let me just use it direct. Hello, can we hear you now? Go on. Go on. Say your name is what?
Yeah. I said my name is Alamin. I'm calling from Central area.
Okay, Alamin, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I greet our guest. Our guest said something about, the palliative, package to cushion the effect of the subsidy. Well, I think I have always been very vocal, and even if I'm the last man standing, I will always stand on it that the payment of the stipends to the poorest Nigerians, about 12 million of them, supposed to have compassion and human face. And I was surprised that the government actually decided, to step it down or indirectly, giving it to handing it over to the state government to come up with their own register and all of that. But there's something we are not, we are not conscious of. Everybody that is going to be part and parcel of the distribution of this palliative, talking about the fertilizer to the farmers, which is also a welcome development, because when we run the econometric and the long effect of the subsidy removal, we'll see that it affects, both three major areas. Transportation, what do you call it? That is road transportation, food production, and legacy infrastructure. It is tied to these three. Now, if we are now raising doubt as to the people that would be saddled with the responsibility of ensuring equal, distribution to ensure that it reaches the real farmers, it means that we have a problem. It should be a national emergency that Nigerians, our moral fabric is completely burnt. That is what it means. If we are going to be raising concern about, the integrity of every action, the government we are hammering on, they are Nigerians. They are product of Nigeria.
Okay.
The president will not go to the farmer and distribute. So
all right.
What I suggest is, if we are not talking about morality, integrity, I think we should single out people without political affiliation. We have Reverend Kuka, the Catholic Bishop Kuka. We have the Islamic cleric from Bauchi State. We can bring people that are not politically aligned to any party, and ensure the distribution. Because if we keep hammering on integrity, I think we are telling the world that our moral fabric as a country is no longer in existence.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alan. Thank you for your interventions. Others are on the line. Thank you so much. The number to call is 0903 2229797. That's 0903 2229797. You can also call us on 0818 222205 or 0818 2222 206. Bode, you were saying something. Let me allow you land before we move on.
Yes, I was talking about the hard hoc measures to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy. Remember, you know, they are hard hoc. They will stop at a point. What we need is a lasting measure. And for the civil servant, the lasting measure for them is to jack up their minimum wage so that their take-home pay will actually take them home. Norgay is currently demanding for 300% of increase. And you know what is the minimum wage? 30,000 naira. Now, you made mention of Oshomole, who described the current minimum wage as criminal because, according to him, he pays his cleaner 60,000 naira. And I will tell you, Oshomole is not sincere. You know why? Oshomole was a national chairman of a ruling party. At what point, or he should tell Nigerians, he should give us the proof that he ever impressed it on Buhari to jack up minimum wage from 30,000 naira and above. He never did that. So why will he now want to, curry favor, or he want to play to the gallery, want Nigerians to praise him, to describe minimum wage as criminal? I think what we need is a practical measure. What is possible? What is achievable? We should stop playing to the gallery. And I like what the Revenue Mobilization and Allocation Fiscal Commission is saying, that economic realities will determine salary increase, because we should not do what we cannot sustain. If it's not sustainable, it will cause more crisis. And whatever we are doing, government should take into consideration totality of productive Nigerians. When I say productive Nigerians, Nigerians adding value, both in the public and the private sectors. Put it as a law to compel all sectors to do the right thing, not just some ad hoc things or things that will affect only people working for government. A lot of Nigerians are in the private sector. We are paying our tax, we are contributing to the economy, and we are affected by the new economic realities. So whatever the packages to cushion the effect will be, we should also be captured.
Exactly, and it shouldn't be a federal thing. It should also...
That's why it should be a law.
The state should also be carried along,
so that they should buy into it.
Even the current minimum wage, how many states are paying?
Some are not paying. And in the spirit of federalism, they have the power not to, because we are in a federal system.
But you just mentioned a very vital thing, because on one hand we want true federalism, on the other hand we are looking at a law that will be unified, that will be a federal. It's
not a unitary system. It's because a unitary system.
Exactly.
I think we should do the right thing at the right time.
All right, but then before we go, in the last couple of weeks, NIMET, NEMA, and all the agencies of government in charge with the environmental issues and the rest have been issuing warnings about large volume of rainfalls and everything. And we expect to hear actions or action plans by states on this. Remember, is it 2020 that last time we had that severe flood across the country? The states naturally will be the ones that will suffer at the end of the day. We don't want to be reacting to issues. We want a system where governments are prepared, especially state governments are prepared. But it doesn't look as if that's the case.
Well, I think going by the popular saying, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. When you are forewarned, you are ready for armed. But in my own Yoruba parlance, they say, even when they say to forewarn is forearmed, they say no, it's only for the wise. So you can be forewarned, and when you don't take heed, then anything can happen. Now, I think government agencies are not doing enough. What I realize is that even yesterday, the Federal Emergency Management Agency here in Abuja, FEMA, issued an alert that there will be downpour in Abuja on Sunday, and people should be alerted. They should be careful of riverine areas and all the rest of them. Or people living around riverine places should actually evacuate. It should go beyond press statements. The media is our responsibility to amplify your press statement as a news, but it's free. You have to be intentional. I keep using that word intentional. You have to be intentional. You have to use your budget to sponsor ads, continuous ads, to tell the people the danger, to tell the people what they need to do in time of emergencies like this. Yesterday, the Benue State Emergency Management Agency, Benue SEM, also, I think, doing a courtesy call of the agency's boss to the third thief, it said 22 out of 23 local governments of Benue State already they've been affected by flood. So what does that tell you?
That's massive.
The totality of Benue
The state
is at the risk of flooding. So, and the rains have not been falling as the way it's supposed to. And when the rains start to fall the way it's supposed to, where do we find ourselves? So these agencies need to go beyond issuing press statements to sponsor art, to drum the messages continuously into the ears of Nigerians that there is danger looming, and these are the things to do. And it's important we are proactive than preventive. When we are proactive, it's more cheaper than being preventive.
Exactly, but I completely agree with you. And apart from sponsoring media art and stuff, the government also needs to put in place tangible things, because it's one thing to tell people, oh, relocate to where?
You have to provide for them.
You have to, because naturally people are reluctant to leave their area.
Habitats, very difficult.
So
very
you have to go out of your way to put in place measures, and these things cost money,
exactly.
a lot of resources at the end of the day.
Exactly.
We hope that people who are responsible for some of these things are listening and will take it. But thank you so much for your interventions on
my pleasure.
Inside. It's always very insightful to have you on Inside, especially on Mondays, which I know that they're very busy day for you. Thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, well, that program on Inside today, we return tomorrow. But before we go again, do you know who your lawmaker is in the State Assembly? I'm sure you know who your president is. I'm sure you know who your governor is. And perhaps you may know who your senator is or your House of Representative member is. But do you know who your lawmaker in the State Assembly is? Do you know who your local government chairman is? And do you know who your councillor is? Find out. My name is Lawrence UMOETTE. We return tomorrow with another edition of Insight. Up next is News on the Hour. Please don't go away.